We can move further. First, we see here how to use input decorator. If I want to use output decorator, means I want to send a data from child component to parent component. For that, we use an output decorator. Okay, so output decorator, it has a some like different flow. We have to create a custom event. If you want to implement that at the output decorator, we have to create here custom event to generate our custom event, and that event we have to bind your child component, and then we can send that data to your parent component. Okay, so let's see that how we can implement that things. For that, we already created child 2 components, so we cannot discuss this concept on this child 1 component. Okay, it is, I kept it as for your reference separately. Okay, so we can map the child 2 component in that parent component. We can check that, we can copy that selector, and we can map in our parent component view file. Okay, and we can discuss that output decorator in child 2 component. So it is better understanding for the child 1 component is only performing the parent to child combination, parent to child data send, and in child 2 parent we can discuss that concept in child 2 component. Okay, first we have to send to data from child to parent. On the button click, we can send that data. Okay, not necessarily you have to create a button, but for the understanding purpose, I just creating a simple UI. That button will be created in our child component. Okay, and on that button click, we can send a data to your parent component. If you want to send directly data to the parent component, it is possible, but how we can perform it dynamically? So I'm creating a simple UI for that purpose. Okay. So we can first create a button on your child 2 component. So we can create a one button. On button click, we can mention that send, and we use here event binding. There is a click event. We can here mention that event handler, that is the on send custom method, and that on send method we can create it in our child component file. So we can here create it on send method. Okay, now I want to send data from the child to parent. So first we created here a data. Okay, here we can create the data. We create it as a simple string property, means I want to send string data. So I'm just creating in str data of type string, and here we can mention this. Oops. So you are enjoying Angular 12 module. Okay, this data I can send to your parent component. Okay, so to send data to your parent, we have to create here one event. Okay, we can create here custom event. To create a custom event, Angular gives one class. That class name is EventEmitter. If you want to create any custom event, Angular provides a class. That class name is EventEmitter. So with the help of that EventEmitter, we can create here event. So to create an instance of that EventEmitter, I created one here property. For example, child str event. I'm just mentioning that property name child str event. For your understanding purpose, I'm mentioning such type of name, child str event, and we create the instance new event emitter. Okay. Now, if you have seen here, just event emitter. In event emitter, there is 2 or 3 classes present in Angular. One event emitter is of type it is present in a stream package. Second event emitter is present at the Angular/core package. One more event emitter is present of events. Okay. So instead of this, which one we have to use? So we have to use at the Angular/core package event emitter. That is inbuilt Angular inbuilt class, that is an event emitter. Okay. Because most of the candidate is mistaking that it not importing the appropriate event emitter, and so it gives error. So make sure you import your event emitter at the Angular/core package. Okay. So we can call it is a default constructor, and it create the instance of that event emitter in your child step event property. Now I have to mention the decorator on that property. Okay, means child to have to mention that the property will send a data to your parent to notify that child to components. We have to mention that at the output decorator. Okay, that output decorator again it is present in the at the Angular/core. Okay, here that it is automatically imported output decorator. Okay, now here we create the instance of an event emitter. Okay, I want to first generate an event. Okay, when I want to generate that event, when I click on button send button, when we click a send button, it will call on send method, that is the event handler method. In that event handler method, we can create or we can generate your event. So for that restore child start event, we can use it's an inbuilt method. That method is called emit. That emit method is present in your event emitter class. Already we line number 10 we create the instance of that event emitter. So we can call that event emitter method, that is an emit method. The job of emit method is to generate a event. Okay, it is the only job of to generate a event and with your data. It generates an event with your data. So we can pass a data, whatever the data you have to emit, you can pass the data to this emit method. So I want to emit the str data. That is, I created already created the property str data. So we can pass that str data for that emit method. Again, that emit method has a return type is a void. It does not return anything, and it generates only event with the value. Okay. Now generation of an event is done. We have to bind that event. Okay. For that, we have to use event binding. So copy that your event name, that is a child str event, and we can bind that event in your parent component view file. Okay, where we can map your component. Here we can map your app-child to component. Okay, there itself you have to make a event binding. You can event binding open close bracket, mention your event name. That is our child start event is our custom event that we generated with the help of event emitter, and we can send that data. So whatever the data we have to send to this parent component, we have to create one property. Here we can use without event handler. Okay? Because when we learn that when we use a event binding, every time we use a event handler. Okay, means we create here custom method and we can pass the data to that custom method. But if your one line logic, we did not create any method or event handler. We directly store that value into your property. Okay. So first we have to create one property here to receive a data. Okay. So I can just mention here property name receive str data. Okay. Whose type is a string and I just make it blank. So that receive data we can get the data here equal to how we can get that data, because in the previous we use a simple arithmetic operation 5 plus 5, that whatever the output is will be stored in a result property. Now here receive data we can get the data with the help of $event. Okay, that $event already we learned in your event binding. So $event, what exactly $event here does, it gives current DOM element data. Okay, with $event we apply on that app child component. It is not a particular HTML element. It is a component element. Okay, means here we mention the component selector name. On that we can use a $event. So $event will check your custom child str event and it gets your data, whatever the data is present in that event, it get that data and $event will send that data to your receive str data property. It directly store that into the property. Okay, so with the help of $event we get that data. Now if you're getting that data, we can just display that data in your parent component. You can mention that receive str data in your parent component. Just we can display that data for the cross-checking purpose whether I get that data or not. Just we can mention the string interpolation and rendering that data. Okay, in parent view file. So check it where data is received or not. We can refresh it. When I click a send button, then the data will be sending from child component to the parent component. See here, the data will be created in our child component. Hope so you are enjoying Angular 12 module. Okay, the data is received in the parent component with the help of that $event. We use here $event. The data is stored in that receive state data, and that property will be here string interpolate that render it that data to your parent component, and data will be get it here. Okay, in that way you can use output decorator. Okay, now one more we have perform here. We just send here only string data. Okay, we can send array of object. We can send array of object data from child component to the parent component. Okay. Okay. So for that, again, if anybody does not understand the flow, now it clear it once again. First things I want to create a data. Okay. So for that, we have to create here a simple array of object. I think already create the array of object on the in the for directive. Okay. I just copy that data. Okay? Don't waste a time to creation data. Okay. So copy that prod array. Just want to copy that and I can use it in our child component. Okay, that is our array of object. I want to send that array of object to our parent component. So first we create the array of object. Okay, then we create a property, and to make that property to create the instance of EventEmitter. Okay, so child error obj data. Okay, now we create here new event emitter. Okay, that event emitter we use @angular/core package. Before that property, we can mention @decorator, that is the output decorator. We can mention the output decorator. It tells that we can send the data with the help of the child error obj data. Okay. Now on button click, I want to send the data. So on send method, we just call that method, call that instance, that this dot child error obj data. On that event emitter instance, we call its emit method. Okay. And pass that event method your array of object. This dot arr or prod arr. Okay. We can generate or your events with the value. Now we have to event binding that child arr obj data in your parent component view file. Here already we done first event binding, that is child str event. One more I want to here bind event binding, and we make it as the event binding open close bracket. Mention the our event name, that is child arr obj data. We have to store the data. For that purpose, just we create a property in our parent component. Okay, we can mention here receive error obj data, whose type is any type of array. Initially we create a blank array. Okay, now we can receive that data in our parent component HTML. Mention that received error obj data is equal to, we use $event. Okay, now data will be directly stored in your received error obj data. Now we can display that data in the table format. Okay, so for that we create here table. In the table we create a t head, that we can create the t head, or I want t head serial number. Just mention the serial number. Then we can mention here product name. Then we can mention here price. Mention here quantity. Okay, quantity. Then we create the table body. We use for the t body. Inside the t body we use the tr, and inside the tr we can make it the td. I require the 4 td, so mention the 4 td. Here we can apply the for loop ng for, we can use it let atom of and received error obj data name. If you want to index, you can use an index as a. Okay, now here first mention the string interpolation I+1. Then instead of that atom, basically it is a JSON object, so we have to mention here atom dot first key is a name. Okay, second key is a price, and last key is a, I think, quantity, QTY. Okay, so that data will be displayed when we click on button. We will check here. When we click the send, see here data is received. Serial number, product name, price, quantity, whatever the data is received in that table format. The data the data is sending from child component to the parent component. Okay,